Welcome to another episode of What Else You Got with Mitch and Margot. How you doing, Mitch?
I'm doing fine, Dandy. How about yourself?
I'm doing great. Hey, we just recorded a terrific episode on team building, and I was excited about the idea, and I wanted to continue the conversation because you want to know where it's really important for you to build an excellent team. Just say yes.
Yes.
There are two places that is super important for you to build an excellent team. Number one, on Survivor, one of my favorite all-time favorite reality shows, and on The Traitors, my newest favorite reality TV show. I love Survivor and I love The Traitors. Do you know that starting February 25th is the 50th season of Survivor?
They've been around for 50 years?
Can you No, they do 2 seasons per year, so 25 years.
They've been around for 25 years?
Yeah, isn't that amazing? So
Wow.
there's been a lot of hype around season 50 of Survivor. I hope it lives up to the hype. I'm super excited about it. And there over the years there have been so many strategies on how to win Survivor. And I think a lot of those strategies can also be carried over to the traders. But so for example, people have strategized or theorized that in order to win Survivor, you need to build a good team around you. So, yes, when you go on Survivor, you're put on a team. You don't necessarily get to choose your team, but I'm talking about the team that you form for your alliances. And so you need to think in terms of who's going to shield you from certain things. So, you always want to make sure that there's a stronger, a a perceived stronger physical player than you, because then when it gets down to the solo part of the game, people are going to want to get rid of the stronger physical players. So if there's always someone more physically strong than you, then they're going to get voted off before you do. But likewise, you've got to make sure that there's somebody weaker than you, because if your team is losing challenges, then you want to make sure there's somebody weaker than you, because then they would get voted off before you because they're holding the team back. So you got to make sure you balance there, but then you also got to make sure you're aligned with someone who thinks they're smarter than you are, and align yourself with someone who is not as smart as you are, if you understand what I'm saying, so that you can control the narrative. And so there's so many important parts of creating your team, your alliance team, to win Survivor. When was last time? I don't think you've watched Survivor recently, have you?
It's been a couple years since I've seen Survivor, but they're very much the same across all seasons.
Hmm. Well, that's up for debate. There's been a lot of controversy around that too. A lot of people think that Survivor did not survive the pandemic. I mean, Survivor pre-COVID and post-COVID, it's two different it's two different shows. It's not the same as it was. And there's actually a lot of talk on social media from fans about the changes that happened, and so it's going to be interesting to see if season 50 charts a new course for Survivor, or what's going to happen. One of my other new favorite shows is called The Traitors. I love The Traitors. And so while season 50 of Survivor is just about to start, season 4, I've lost track, of The Traitors is just about to finish. We've got our final episode of the season coming up this week for The Traitors. And I'll tell you what, Rob, there have even been comparisons between Rob on this season of The Traitors to Boston Rob, iconic player of Survivor. There have been video montages comparing the two as far as the way they've played these separate games, and the way they've handled the players around them, their facial expressions, their posture. It's a good comparison. And I'm just really hoping that Rob wins this season of The Traitors. I He has played such an excellent game. I'll tell you what, I can't hardly wait to watch it. So maybe we should air this podcast before the one we just recorded, because this is a big week for TV, reality TV fans. We've got Survivor 50 coming out, and we've got season 4 of The Traitors ending. And you want to ask me what I want to be doing in May or June of this year.
What do you want to be doing in May and June of this year?
I'm putting it out into the universe. I'm manifesting. I want to be in Scotland in May or June filming the next season of The Traitors. I put in my application. I have put it out into the universe. I want to be on the next season of The Traitors. I would be so absolutely thrilled if they would give me a call.
Well, while you say that, at the show I would want to be a part of that fits in that same family, Extracted.
Extracted. What? Now, I think I've heard of this. This is a newer one, isn't it?
Yep, they're currently doing season, or they're currently airing season 2, but it's one of those that it plays backwards than a lot of these survival shows where you're out in the wilderness with everyone and you're trying to figure out stuff. Extracted takes those type elements, but you're solo, and your team is actually in basically a resort basically, and they're competing against other teams trying to get you supplies. So it's a mix of, you have a
Oh.
mind game and a physical game.
So what streaming service is this on?
I think it's on Netflix.
Really? Okay, I'm asking Google. If it's on Netflix, how have I not watched that? That sounds right up my alley. Extracted?
Yep.
Extracted. Oh, I have to put my glasses on. Am I supposed to type in where to watch it?
You can, or streaming. But one reason why I like it is so you have one person in the wilderness that is decently good, and then you have two people at home base that they're trying to negotiate with the other teams to get you the right resources. And so it's a mixture of, you need to have someone who's capable of surviving in the wilderness, and or someone who's in home base that has the ability to communicate what needs to be done for them to thrive. And both groups need to be able to know what the other one needs so that they're able to send the resources over. Because the one in the wilderness, they talk to a camera. The people on home base, they get to watch the camera, but they also get to see what everyone else is doing. And so it's a very interesting mixture of, you need people who can communicate through their supply drops to get to them.
It kind of makes me think of the Hunger Games when
It's exactly
the
like the Hunger Games, except
is
you're not
it?
killing people.
Except they're not killing. That's good. I'm glad to hear nobody's dying. Okay, so according to Google, it's on Disney Plus, Hulu, or Amazon Prime. Where are you watching it?
Disney, and
You think you're
yeah,
watching it on Disney?
yeah. I watched it somewhere. I watched season
Okay,
1. My wife's currently watching season 2.
it
I'm
sounds
not a fan of
awesome.
watching. I'm not a fan of watching week to week.
I
I'm a fan
know,
of just
right?
binging them.
Right? This is what streaming services have done to us. Nobody, I mean, it feels like torture to have to wait a whole week. And yet, there are shows that are doing that now because the streaming services want us to keep coming back, right? But yeah, my preference is to be able to binge. Sometimes I try to make myself wait until I have a few episodes to watch, but that sometimes that's hard, especially when it's a really great show.
Yep, I made it a month waiting for one show to stream, and just still got another 3 months to air. I'm going, darn,
Oh,
I have to wait 3 months to
wow.
just be uh, trailed along.
Wow. Do you have any other favorite? Let's keep it on reality TV. Do you watch any other reality TV? Do you watch The Voice? Do you probably watch like Housewives of LA. That's probably what you watch.
No, I'm going, what reality shows do I watch?
I r-
Actually,
my I like competition reality. So I like The Traders, I like Survivor, I like I love The Challenge. Um I like competition reality.
so the closest I get to reality TV is YouTube. in the sense of I've got a couple of channels that I follow, but it's because they're showing the story on how they progress through certain things. Because one of my current leading ones is Matt's Off Road Recovery, where they show you the struggle of how they recover vehicles out in the middle of nowhere and how they get them out. And I like watching that because you get to see all the technical stuff.
Well, and it's
And,
problem solving. I think you like problem solving, so
yeah, and I there's a couple of woodworking channels that I like, and also creator channels. But as I say that, sometimes when I really get the itch for the really published reality TV shows, sometimes I watch like what was it called? Ice Road Heavy Recovery or something like that,
okay.
where they're doing these. How do you get someone out of a problem?
Mhm. Yeah. I can see that you would like problem solving ones. That's awesome. I'm so excited to go try out that Extracted. I like don't even want to talk to you anymore. I hope I have a
Oh,
streaming service that I can watch it on.
yeah. Well, I guess on that note,
No,
you
no,
got
no.
any
I
other?
think we should talk more about the traders.
Oh, okay.
Okay. So, do you have you ever watched the traders? Do you know anything about it?
I have not seen it. I would assume it fits into the Among Us category.
I've heard people say that. Also heard people compare it to Mafia. I'm unfamiliar with both of those other things,
Yeah,
but they
those
basically
are almost the
bring
same.
They bring about 20 people into so the UK version and the US version are filmed at the same castle in Scotland. There's a different version down in Australia and New Zealand. I've watched them all. I love it. So they basically bring like 20 people or so in, and uh, the US version has only been celebrities so far. So their next season will be the first season of normal people. They bring the people in, they come in, they sit about around a big giant round table, and the host, so they sit around this big giant table, they put blindfolds on, and then the host walks around and around and around the table, and he taps anywhere from 2 to 4 people on the shoulder. And so the people he taps are the traitors. And so then, and everybody else is a faithful. So they take their blindfolds off, they look around at each other, try to read body language. It's funny because so many people think they're experts in reading body language, and they think they're experts in figuring out who's lying. And so then the premise of the show then is the faithfuls are supposed to figure out who the traitors are and banish them before the traitors murder them, murder. And so each night the traitors choose to murder a faithful. They're out of the game. And each day everybody sits around the round table again, and the faithful try to vote off and banish a traitor, but they don't know who the traitors are. So oftentimes they vote off faithfuls. And so whoever makes it to the end, and they do all of these kind of silly challenges throughout to add money to the prize pot. So then whoever's at the end, if they're faithfuls, they will share the prize pot. But if there's even one traitor amongst them, the traitor will take all the money.
Yep, that's a lot like Among Us, where you're running around with a group of astronauts, basically trying to fix various things, and then the traitor comes out and tries to backstab, eliminate, make ghosts of those who are left over, and then at the end of each, or not the end, but throughout the thing, someone may say, "Hey, I found a body." They all get together, they deliberate on who created the body, and then they usually jettison someone that they voted off. Hopefully, it's the imposter. Sometimes it's one of the crew members, and the idea is you need enough crew where you can vote off all of the imposters. But if the imposters get to the point where they have an advantage where they can eliminate more of the crew faster, there's not much that they can do and they lose. So it really is the can you fix the ship and get rid of all the imposters before they finish you off?
I love it. I want to go on it so bad. And when they traders the US version, when they were only doing celebrity seasons, I was thinking I was going to have to apply to go on Survivor, make a name for myself, and then apply to go on Traders. But I would really like to just go on the Traders. And so when they announced that they were going to open casting to Average Joe's and Margot's, um, I put in my application. I'm waiting for them to call. Do you think they'll call? Maybe they
Of
lost my
course they'll
phone
call.
number. Will they?
You're a celebrity here.
Aw, thanks. Are you a fan?
Oh yeah, I'm always a fan.
Sweet. I'm a fan of yours too. You want to go on the Traders with me?
Sure.
That'd be fun. That would be so
Yeah.
fun.
And then
And
oddly, they put us on separate teams.
I was just going to say, this current season, they've got Tara Lipinski and Johnny. I don't know Johnny's last name, but they're Olympic ice skaters, and they're best of friends outside of the game. And I was thinking how awesome it would have been if one of them had been a traitor, and would they have been able to lie to their best friend throughout the entire season? That would have been interesting to see how that could have worked. But yeah, so it's been a really fun season. I highly recommend it.
Yep. If we are on opposing teams, if you don't vote me off, I'll split half my winnings.
I I used to want to go on Survivor and do a family episode with you. I thought that would have been fun because not episode, season. It's been a long time since they've had seasons where they've had like family members on the same season. You've watched some of those seasons, haven't
No,
you?
I actually have not seen any of those
It's like
seasons.
there was one called Blood versus Water or Blood something. And so they've done some interesting social experiments in the past. I really hope they will bring back some of the social experiments because they on Survivor they've they've had different tribes where like they've had older people on a tribe, and I just think the social experiment part of Survivor was always fascinating. But the last since COVID, it's been more about just doing the challenges and playing the game, and less about a social experiment. But I still love it. It's still a great show. Jeff Probst, if you need a extra person, you can give him a call. I just don't really want to wear bathing suits. So I think if I went on Survivor, I would probably be the older female on the show who is actually wearing like a not a swimsuit, but swim clothes from that you would see back in the 30s or 40, well, the 1930s.
Because we're getting pretty close to the 30s as is.
Right? Where's all the time going? Oh my gosh. Anyhow, well, what else do you want to talk about? What else you got?
Well, I think I would do decent with those survival games just for the fact of I'm quite survival inclined and I can make
And
a
you're
lot of stuff out of not
strategic.
much.
And you're
Yeah.
strategic. Yeah.
But at the same time, when it comes into the social and political and the negotiating, that's my weaker spot. But if you throw me out in the middle of the woods and say survive, I can probably do that.
Okay. Okay. Do you ever want to go on the show called Alone? That's another one of my favorites. I love Alone. Have you ever watched it?
I have not seen Alone, but it's so with what I understand of Alone is going back to Extracted because that's the one I've seen most recently. You have the Alone side where you're out in the woods, but
Hmm.
then you have your home team, and so it's similar-ish.
Yeah, except Alone, you got nobody else. Yeah,
Hmm.
Alone. I think you would like Alone. I highly recommend that one too. It's one of my favorite reality shows. And it's not so much it's as far as competition goes, you're competing with yourself. You're not competing with anybody else, and you're doing all your own camera work. There is no camera crew out there with you. And there are other contestants, but they're all dropped far away from each other, and so they do not cross paths at all. And they're allowed to bring a limited number of supplies out there with them. They can choose from a list, and then it's up to them to figure out how to survive. Build a shelter, purify water, and uh, find food sources. And so it's pretty impressive. And they go to some really interesting locations, mostly up in uh, like northern Canada is kind of where they've done it a lot, but um, cold, cold
That's the
and
hardest
wet
part with those.
and wet. And so it's also interesting how on Alone, so many of them are already survival experts in their own right. And they are master fire starters, but then they get out there into that wet environment and they have to start a fire. And so many of them get so frustrated because it's so easy for them to build the fire in their home state, where whatever state they've come from. But a lot of the states are drier. And so the fires are easier for them to start. And so then they're transported up into these very wet, damp situations. And it's fascinating to watch. It really is. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Well, I'm excited to watch the season premiere of Survivor 50 and the season finale of The Traitors. So much good TV. Maybe we should just take a week off from work and watch TV.
Sometimes that's good, but there's also a lot to do and a team to build.
That's right. So we need good teams on Survivor, good teams on The Traitors, and Alone is just a team of one. But anyhow, Mitch, what else you got?
I think that's it for this one. So everyone, like, comment, subscribe. Tell us what your favorite reality TV show is. What survival show you want to participate in. Who you would nominate. I would nominate Margot. But yeah, otherwise, like, comment, and subscribe, and we will see you on the next episode of What Else You Got with Mitch and Margot.